Did not offend them too terrible because they've invited me now to speak to you. So pleasure to be here today. I represent RCAF USA. This is an organization, national organization, that represents independent live cattle producers and sheep producers. We represent the farmers and ranchers that raise and sell live animals. We do not represent the meat packers, the wholesalers, the distributors. We're the largest producer-only organization representing the U.S. cattle industry, and our counterparts, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and the American Meat Institute, the meat packers, find us offensive. The reason they find us offensive is because we find the direction that this country has been in the last 30 years intolerable. When I was 20 years old, there was 1.3 million cattle producers in the United States. Since that time, we wiped out 500,000, 500,000. At the same time, when I was 20 years old, there were 667,000 independent hog producers in this country. Today, there's about 67,000. We wiped out 9 out of every 10 hog producers just in about the last 3 decades. We wiped out about 8 out of every 10 dairy producers. We wiped out 1/3 of our sheep producers. Our U.S. sheep industry has now earned the distinction of being the first livestock industry in the United States to effectively be outsourced. We now import and rely on imported lamb and mutton to a greater degree than our beleaguered sheep industry can now produce lamb and mutton. In 2006, we began importing more than we were able to produce. The poultry industry is currently a fully vertically integrated industry. Poultry producers are no longer independent producers. They are dictated to by the integrators as to the terms of production, the terms of marketing, the genetics they will use, and the price of their birds. The same is true with our hog industry, now that we've wiped out 9 out of the 10. It's vertically integrated. It's controlled by the meat packers. Folks, the U.S. cattle industry is the meat packers' last frontier. We are the last livestock sector in the United States that is not already vertically integrated from birth to plate. And that's why we're in business, and that's why we have been so sorely disappointed with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, because it has for so long worked in harmony with the meat packers, those whose interests are in conflict with independent producers, and as a result we've seen a mass exodus and depopulation of rural areas all across the United States, including in New Mexico, and now we are in a rebuilding mode. So how do we do that? Well, what we need to do is do what Mr. Ken Johnson suggested. We need to be focused and we need to fight. We need to make it clear what our position is, and folks, we've compromised too much already. So we have to have a plan. The plan our organization has is a 4-point plan. Number 1, in order to protect the traditional farming and ranching in New Mexico and all across the United States, first thing we need to do is take from the hands of the meat packers the tools they are using to leverage down our prices, to capture the live cattle supply chain. What does that mean?
RCAF USA has been privileged to work with the National Latino Farmers and Ranchers Trade Association. We work closely together on very important issues like country of origin labeling, as well as to ensure that our markets remain competitive. And in doing that, we need rules to fully establish, administer, and enforce the over 90-year-old Packers and Stockyards Act that was designed to protect independent producers. So we're pleased to work with your organization and look forward to this coalition effort long into the future.